Imagine you are standing in the middle of the street. You're holding this half-meter-long spiraled French fry on a stick.
Yeah, the classic Harajuku potato.
Exactly. And the air, it just smells like sweet crepe batter and, frying oil. J-pop is blasting so loudly from a neon pink boutique to your left that your teeth are, they're practically vibrating.
It is absolute sensory overload.
It really is. A group of teenagers brushes past you wearing these massive platform boots and earth-toned leather jackets, and they are just totally absorbed in their smartphones. The sheer density of people, the color, the noise, it's a lot.
Right.
But then you take a detour, you slip away from the crowd and walk for exactly 2 minutes.
That's 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes. The music fades, the neon disappears, the concrete turns to gravel, and suddenly you step into this completely silent, sacred forest containing over 100,000 trees, walking under a massive, ancient wooden gate.
It's a geographical and psychological contrast that it almost gives you whiplash. Going from the absolute peak of modern, hyper-vibrant consumer chaos to just breathless, ancient serenity in the time it takes to, check a text message. It's an experience very few cities on Earth can offer.
And that whiplash is exactly the magic of what we are unpacking today. Welcome to your ultimate no BS guide to Harajuku, Tokyo in the year 2026.
It's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely. Whether you're actively planning a trip or you're just fascinated by how global culture is manufactured, this deep dive is your blueprint. Our mission is to equip you to navigate the kawaii or cute and streetwear capital of the world.
Right, bypassing the exhausting tourist traps.
Exactly. We're decoding the cutting-edge fashion shifts and finding out how to actually locate that hidden serenity.
Okay, let's unpack this. The center of gravity for everything we're talking about is Takeshita Street, or Takeshita Dori.
Yeah, it's the arterial vein of the district. And to really understand the sheer scale of the culture here, you have to look at the physical constraints. Takeshita Street is a pedestrian alley.
It's pretty narrow, right? Very narrow. It's only about 350 to 400 meters long. Yet it is packed with roughly 130 independent shops, boutiques, and cafes.
That is insane.
The density is staggering. Every square inch of real estate is optimized to catch your eye.
I was struck by how it operates like kind of like a cultural time machine. You have these legacy institutions that have survived decades of shifting trends.
Like Daiso, right?
Yeah, Daiso is there, operating one of the most famous 100 yen shops in the country. And Boutique Takanoko is still running. They opened back in 1979.
Wow.
Yeah, and they became globally famous when Lady Gaga started sourcing her most outrageous costumes from their racks. But then, right next door to these historical pillars, you now have fully equipped neon-lit live streaming studios specifically built for TikTok creators.
That juxtaposition is the defining characteristic of the neighborhood in 2026. The street does not erase its history.
No.
It just compresses it. And you see that compression most clearly in the fashion. For years, the dominant trend among Tokyo youth leaning into street style was a very severe, minimalist, black-heavy aesthetic.
Very uniform.
Very uniform. But the current movement dominating the streets is called ditching black, or datsukura.
The sources show a massive swing back toward highly expressive color. It's a full-on Y2K revival.
Right.
People are bringing back the early 2000s gal fashion-like midriff-bearing tops, incredibly tall platform boots, and surprisingly earthy tones. A lot of browns and beiges mixed with leather.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
I find it fascinating because it feels like a deliberate rebellion against playing it safe. It's almost as if the youth culture reached peak minimalism and just collectively decided to break the color palette wide open.
It is absolutely a visual rebellion. When an aesthetic becomes too corporate or too widely adopted by the mainstream, which minimalist black certainly did, youth subcultures will inherently pivot to its exact opposite to reclaim their distinct identity.
That makes total sense.
But the fascinating thing about Harajuku is that previous trends never truly die. They just find new habitats.
Right, because the classic extreme Harajuku looks haven't vanished. The people dressing in full Victorian-inspired Lolita dresses or hardcore gothic punk gear, they're still there.
They just moved.
Exactly. The ecosystem has organized itself. If you want that concentrated, pure subculture experience, the sources point to a very specific location. The basement of the La Forêt Fashion Complex, floor B1.5.
Oh, floor B1.5 functions almost like a living archive. It houses the flagship stores for legendary alternative brands like Angelic Pretty.
Wow.
By moving these deeply specific subcultures off the chaotic main street and into a dedicated space, they've created an environment where enthusiasts can fully immerse themselves without the constant friction of the mainstream crowd.
Speaking of immersive environments, the documentation around the new Kawaii Monsterland is wild. I mean, the original Kawaii Monster Cafe was this iconic, psychedelic, sensory overload restaurant that ended up closing.
A huge loss at the time.
But for 2026, the godfather of kawaii culture, Sebastian Masuda, has resurrected it. Only now, it's mutated from a cafe into a massive 60-minute interactive theme park experience.
Yeah, it's intense.
They literally have an indoor ride called the Choppy's Melty Cup Ride, and a cast of Monster Girls Crazy, Dolly, Baby, Candy, and Natty who guide you through these neon dreamscapes.
It is an incredible feat of design and branding, but, it also introduces a significant logistical hurdle for anyone visiting. The entire experience is strictly gated.
You can't just walk in.
No, you cannot just wander in off the street.
Yeah.
You are required to book tickets online at least 3 weeks in advance.
Wait, hold on a second. This is where I struggle with the narrative of Harajuku being this organic center of youth rebellion. I was reading the foot traffic reports from a couple of years ago, and foreign tourists were already making up nearly 40% of the crowd on Takeshita Street.
Yeah, the numbers are huge.
Right, so if almost half the people on the street are tourists, and the major cultural touchstones are now ticketed theme parks you have to book a month out, hasn't this just become a hollow tourist trap? Are we just looking at a manufactured set?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it is crucial to understand the actual function of Harajuku. It is not, and never has been, an isolated bubble.
Okay.
Harajuku is a sponge. Its fundamental nature is to absorb external influences, mix them with local aesthetics, and export something entirely new.
So the tourists are just part of the mix.
Exactly. The international presence is undeniably huge, and the neighborhood is absolutely dealing with what urban planners call tourist friction, the logistical strain of over-tourism. But the commercialization does not negate the authenticity.
I see.
The kids in platform booths aren't actors, They are participating in a living fashion laboratory that just happens to be highly visible.
So if I'm visiting, how do I actually observe that laboratory without getting crushed by the tourist friction?
The behavioral data gives us a very clear tactical advantage for 2026. Do not go on a Saturday afternoon.
Let me guess, it's a nightmare.
Absolute gridlock. The ultimate travel power move is to arrive at Takeshita Street at exactly 10:30 a.m. on a weekday.
10:30 a.m.
Yes. This is right as the independent shops are pulling up their shutters. You catch the authentic energy of the creators and the fashion enthusiasts before the afternoon crowd sets in.
That makes a lot of sense. Beat the rush, secure your space. And speaking of the streets, I noticed a very specific pattern in the research regarding the food scene.
The food is wild.
It really is. Everything seems engineered to be consumed without sitting down. It's all served on sticks in weird cones or inside specialized wrappers. Is nobody eating a normal meal here?
What you are observing is the one-handed rule.
The one-handed rule.
Yeah. The culinary landscape of Takeshita Street has been explicitly designed around the modern consumer's posture. Food is structured so that you can eat it with one hand, leaving your dominant hand completely free to hold your smartphone.
Which is brilliant, because if you aren't documenting this food, did you even really buy it?
Exactly.
But this raises a massive contradiction for anyone visiting Japan. We are told repeatedly that eating while walking down the street is a major cultural faux pas.
Absolutely.
It is considered very rude. So how does a culture of portable food exist in a society that frowns upon walking while eating?
It is a delicate balance of etiquette. The food is portable, but you are not supposed to be in motion while consuming it.
I see.
The expectation is that you purchase your highly photogenic snack and then you immediately step to the side. You find a curb, stand near the shop's designated area, remain completely stationary while you eat, and then use the shop's specific bins to dispose of your trash.
Okay, that clears that up. And the items you're stepping aside to eat are genuinely absurd.
Tell me about it.
Take the 10-yen bread. It is this large, freshly baked pancake stamped to look exactly like a Japanese 10-yen coin. But the irony and the visual gag of the whole thing is that you have to hand over a 500-yen coin to buy it.
It's pretty funny.
And then you break this giant fake coin in half, and it is filled with mozzarella cheese that stretches endlessly for the camera.
The elasticity of the cheese is entirely intentional. It is engineered for video content.
Exactly like the longest potato we talked about earlier, which is literally a 52-centimeter spiraled potato on a stick. a half-meter of fried carbohydrate.
It's massive.
Or the Todi Candy Factory, which sells 1,000 yen giant rainbow cotton candy. It looks like you were eating a Technicolor cloud. Even the legacy spots are getting wild. Marion Crepes has been serving Harajuku since 1976.
They are the pioneers.
Right. And alongside the classic strawberry and whipped cream, you can order a tuna curry crepe.
The savory adaptations are a fascinating localized twist on a European staple. But to see the absolute peak of this visual-first culinary philosophy, we have to look at the cafe culture, specifically places like Reissue Cafe.
The latte place.
Yes. They have mastered the art of 3D latte foam. A barista will sculpt the foam on your cappuccino into a freestanding, three-dimensional character.
Like what kind of characters?
Like a dog, a cat, a famous anime mascot. Something that physically rises out of the cup.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The sources explicitly note that this 3D latte costs around 17 Australian dollars, and during peak times, you will wait 45 minutes just to get it.
Yeah, the lines are long.
You are waiting nearly an hour for a coffee, purely so you can take a photo of it before you inevitably ruin the sculpture by drinking it. Are we actually participating in a culinary scene, or is this literally just an economy of content creation?
It is the latter, but with a crucial caveat. We are looking at the pinnacle of the Instagrammable economy. In this specific district, visual appeal is the primary currency.
Okay.
The aesthetic shock value is the marketing engine. But what separates Harajuku from temporary pop-up traps around the world is the underlying quality control.
Meaning the food actually has to taste good to survive the rent prices.
Precisely. Consider the rainbow grilled cheese sandwich that frequently goes viral. Visually, it looks completely synthetic, like a plastic toy.
It does look like Play-Doh.
Right. You pull it apart, and the cheese is neon blue, green, and pink. But culinary reviewers consistently note that the bread is coated in an incredibly rich, high-quality garlic butter.
Wow.
The visual gets you in the door, but the actual culinary execution, a deeply satisfying savory flavor profile, is what sustains the business. It respects the camera, but it also respects the palate.
It actually delivers on the promise. So you've taken the photo of your 3D latte, you've eaten your neon cheese, and now you want a physical souvenir. The documentation points to something called Purikura as the quintessential Harajuku memento.
Purikura, which is a portmanteau of Print Club, revolutionized the photo booth concept. But if you are accustomed to the standard Western photo booth, where you sit on a stool behind a curtain and smile at a lens, you need to entirely recalibrate your expectations.
The descriptions of this are completely chaotic. You don't just sit there. You walk into this brightly lit machine, and a booming voice starts rapidly shouting poses at you.
It's a workout.
Peace sign, cat pose, look surprised. You are just scrambling to keep up. And the technology inside these booths automatically applies these intense, heavy filters.
Very heavy filters.
It gives everyone these almost alien-like proportions. Your eyes are massively enlarged, your skin is blurred to perfection, and your legs are digitally elongated.
The distortion is the appeal, though. It is a highly stylized version of reality, and the interactive element extends far beyond the photography itself.
Right, the drawing part.
Yes. Once the photos are taken, you are ushered out of the booth and into a separate, dedicated touchscreen terminal for the rakugaki, or graffiti phase.
That sounds like the best part. You have a few minutes to furiously draw all over the digital photos before they print. You add digital stamps, write inside jokes, paste sparkles everywhere.
It's super creative.
Then the machine prints out a sheet of physical stickers, and they even provide a station with scissors so you can cut them up and distribute them among your friends. It's a brilliant way to turn a digital process back into a tactile physical souvenir.
It is a ritual of friendship. But if we are looking at interactive experiences, we also have to examine the animal cafe industry.
Right.
Harajuku has historically been famous for this, but the 2026 data reveals a really significant positive shift in consumer behavior.
Yes, the consensus across the travel guides is a very firm warning. Skip the unethical exotic animal traps. The owl cafes and the spaces that keep wild animals in tiny, loud rooms are losing favor.
Thankfully.
Instead, the #1 recommendation for 2026 is the My Pig Cafe, which specializes in micro pigs or teacup pigs.
The operational standards of this cafe highlight a massive evolution. You cannot simply walk in. Reservations are strictly enforced to control crowd size.
That's good.
And before guests are allowed to enter the space, they must undergo extensive hand washing and sanitizing procedures specifically designed to protect the animals' immune systems.
The way one source described the vibe was perfect. They called it a cozy, high-end coffee shop that somehow merged with an obsessively clean, highly affectionate petting zoo.
I love that description.
Because unlike a traditional cat cafe, where you might pay to watch a cat completely ignore you for an hour, these teacup pigs are profoundly social animals. They actively seek out human interaction and will trot over just to take a nap on your lap.
What's fascinating here is how this shift mirrors the values of the demographic driving Harajuku's culture. Gen Z demands ethical alignment from the brands they patronize.
They vote with their wallets.
Exactly. The sheer popularity of the Mi Pig Cafe proves a crucial point for the tourism industry. A destination can course correct toward highly regulated, responsible animal welfare while still providing an undeniably kawaii experience. Ethical consumption is proving to be highly marketable.
That is a deeply encouraging trend. Now let's change the scenery. You have navigated Takeshita Street, you have survived the sensory overload of neon food, you have your Purikura stickers, and you just need to turn the volume down.
Time for a break.
The sources suggest stepping off the main drag and heading into an area called Harajuku, or Hidden Harajuku, and a pedestrian artery known as Cat Street.
The architectural and atmospheric transition is stark. You cross the street, leave the towering, flashy commercial buildings behind, and enter a neighborhood defined by low-rise, meticulously designed architecture.
It sounds so much calmer.
It is inherently pedestrian-centric. The pace drops dramatically, and the commerce shifts from novelty to high craftsmanship, specifically in coffee culture places like the Roastery by Nosy Coffee and Fashion.
This is where the heavy-hitter fashion enthusiasts go. The vintage and high-end consignment shopping here is legendary. But I want to understand the mechanism behind this. You have stores like Ragtag and Burbergen selling used clothes. Why are people traveling from all over the world to buy secondhand jackets on Cat Street?
Because they are not simply buying used clothing, they are acquiring historical artifacts of global streetwear.
Artifacts?
These consignment stores function like curated archives. They meticulously authenticate and source pieces from the golden eras of the 1980s and 1990s. We are talking about seminal collections from brands like Supreme, A Bathing Ape, or Comme des Garçons.
Oh, wow, that's high-end.
Very. For collectors, Harajuku offers access to garments that fundamentally shaped modern fashion, often at a fraction of contemporary retail prices.
It is basically a museum where everything is for sale. But if Harajuku represents the archives, the new reigning champion of modern Harajuku in 2026 is a massive, multi-level complex right at the Jingu intersection called Harajuku.
Harajuku is structurally fascinating. It pitches itself not merely as a retail mall, but as a comprehensive creators platform. It features an expansive, lushly planted rooftop terrace that provides a sprawling, free vantage point over the intersection.
Which is a stark contrast to the dense concrete below.
Exactly.
The rooftop is beautiful, but the detail that absolutely stopped me in my tracks when reading the sources is what they decided to build in the basement.
The Sento.
They installed Kasugi Harajuku. It is a fully functional, highly traditional Japanese public bathhouse Sento. They built a communal hot bath in the basement of an ultra-modern, cutting-edge fashion mall.
It's wild, isn't it?
So what does this all mean? You can spend your afternoon hunting down rare 90s streetwear on Cat Street and then strip down for a traditional communal soak underneath a shopping center.
I mean, it sounds absurd until you understand the underlying psychology. Harajuku is the perfect 2026 Tokyo paradox. The developers recognize that the relentless sensory input of the streets above creates cognitive fatigue.
It's tiring.
Very tiring. The inclusion of a Sento is a deliberate architectural antidote. They're synthesizing ultra-modern consumerism with ancient communal wellness, offering visitors a physical and mental cleanse without requiring them to leave the district.
A mental cleanse. Which brings us perfectly to the ultimate antidote to all this chaos and the scene we painted right at the top of the show, Meiji Jingu.
Meiji Jingu is arguably the grandest Shinto shrine in Tokyo, dedicated to the deified spirits of Emperor Meiji and his consort Empress Shoka.
Right.
And geographically, it is situated inside an expansive, dense forest composed of 100,000 trees that were hand-planted by volunteers, utilizing saplings donated from every single region of Japan.
The geography is what breaks my brain. It is quite literally a 2-minute walk from the hyper-pop frenzy of Takeshita Street. You cross the threshold and the silence is immediate.
It really is.
It is genuinely like walking out of a pulsing neon warehouse rave and instantly stepping into a silent meditation retreat. You enter through these massive, towering torii gates that are constructed from 1,500-year-old cypress wood. You walk past this towering wall of beautifully painted sake barrels donated by brewers.
It's stunning.
But the sources are very clear that this isn't just a park, it's an active religious site. How are visitors supposed to engage with this space?
Well, shrine etiquette is a vital component of the experience. The rituals are designed to instill mindfulness. When you arrive at the massive torii gate, you must stop and bow once before passing through.
Okay, bow once.
As you proceed down the long gravel path, you are expected to walk strictly on the left or right sides. The direct center of the path is traditionally reserved for the passage of the gods.
I love that physical reminder to yield space. And what happens when you finally reach the main hall of the shrine?
The sequence of paying respect is very precise. You toss a coin into the wooden offering box. You bow deeply, twice.
Toss a coin, bow twice.
Then you bring your hands to chest level and clap them firmly, twice, to alert the deities to your presence. You take your moment of silent prayer or gratitude, and then you conclude the ritual by bowing deeply one final time.
It is a profoundly grounding sequence of actions. And to add one final layer to this geographical puzzle, right next to this deeply solemn ancient space, you have Yoyogi Park. It acts as the sprawling green living room for the city.
It does. And on Sundays, near the park entrance closest to Harajuku Station, it hosts one of Tokyo's most enduring and visually striking subcultures, the Tokyo Rockabilly Club.
These are people fully, uncompromisingly dedicated to the 1950s greaser aesthetic. They are wearing heavy leather jackets covered in studs, their hair is styled into these massive gravity-defying pompadours, and they are out there aggressively dancing to vintage rock and roll music.
It is incredible to watch.
It really is.
And, this specific juxtaposition raises an important question regarding urban planning and cultural evolution. What Harajuku demonstrates is a societal philosophy that refuses to bulldoze the past to accommodate the future.
You construct them side by side.
Exactly. Within a single square mile, you have an ancient, sacred forest, a crew of 1950s rockabilly dancers, an archive of 1990s streetwear, and a neon-lit 2026 TikTok live streaming studio. The ecosystem thrives because it allows people to constantly navigate between extremes, balancing total chaos with absolute zen.
So to bring this all together for you listening, the true 2026 Harajuku experience isn't about just checking off tourist landmarks. It is about actively engaging in that contrast.
That's the key.
It is about diving into the back streets to hunt for Y2K fashion, understanding the visual irony of a 500 yen pancake shaped like a 10 yen coin, stepping into a Purikura booth to let an algorithm turn you into a wide-eyed alien, and then washing away the sensory overload with a deep bow in a silent ancient forest.
The overarching advice from all our sources is simple. Do not be a passive observer. Harajuku rewards participation.
Put on the loud, wildly colorful jacket you've been entirely too shy to wear in your hometown. Eat the ridiculous 52-centimeter potato on a stick. Pose for the chaotic photos.
Lean into it.
The entire spirit of the district is built on fearless self-expression. Lean into it. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there is one final, lingering philosophical question I want you to chew on.
We have spent this entire time analyzing the shifting eras, the opening and closing of iconic shops, and the rapid recycling of fashion trends.
Right. Which begs the question, if a neighborhood like Harajuku is entirely built on fleeting youth subcultures, the rapid turnover of aesthetics and the constant demand for whatever is next, is its true tradition actually the act of relentless, unstoppable change?
That's a great point.
Does Harajuku ever really possess a static identity, or is it merely a perfect, hyper-reflective mirror showing exactly what the current generation needs to see when they walk its streets today? Think about that next time you find yourself standing perfectly still, somewhere between the neon lights and a forest of 100,000 trees.